Welcome back to another explainer. So, have you ever typed a request into an AI tool and just gotten back the most useless, generic, robotic garbage imaginable? Yeah, we've all been there. It's incredibly frustrating, right? You ask for a quick, polite email to your boss, and the AI spits back a 19th century essay that makes you sound like a Victorian butler. Well, today we are fixing that problem once and for all. We're mastering prompt engineering. This is basically the ultimate guide to AI communication. We're going to figure out how to unlock highly accurate, perfectly tailored results instead of just crossing our fingers and hoping the machine guesses right. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for mastering this skill. First, we'll decode what prompt engineering actually is, then we'll break down the perfect prompt formula. After that, we'll compare weak versus strong prompts, dive into some advanced masterclass techniques, and finally, wrap up with exactly how to master your results. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Decoding Prompt Engineering, what it is and why it actually matters. So, what are we really doing when we sit down to talk to an AI? Technically, prompt engineering is the practice of writing clear and specific instructions, which we call prompts, to guide AI tools in generating accurate, relevant, high-quality outputs. But let's look under the hood for a second. Large language models, or LLMs, they're basically giant prediction engines. They've swallowed huge chunks of the internet, and at their core, they're just doing the math to predict the next most likely word. When you give them a vague prompt, you're opening up this massive, endless ocean of mathematical possibilities. That's exactly why they hallucinate or give you boring, generic answers. Prompt engineering is just you building guardrails. You're narrowing down the math so the AI gives you the exact, specific output you need. It's not crazy computer programming, it's literally just learning to speak a new language. And here's why this matters to you. Without this skill, using AI is kind of like pulling a slot machine lever and just praying for a jackpot. You type, you close your eyes, you hope for the best. Good prompt engineering directly improves response quality and wipes out a ton of errors and ambiguity, meaning you stop wrestling with the machine. Think about the time you'll save here. Instead of getting a bad output and spending 20 minutes heavily rewriting the whole thing yourself, a well-engineered prompt gives you a perfectly usable draft in 10 seconds flat. It takes that random slot machine and turns it into a highly reliable, professional tool that produces consistent results every single time you hit enter. Moving right along to Section 2, the perfect prompt formula. These are your core building blocks. Before we get to the magic formula itself, we need to gather our essential ingredients. What actually makes a good prompt? Well, it absolutely has to be clear and specific. It needs to provide context, like the background info, so the AI understands the landscape of your request. You have to clearly define the task. You need to specify the output format, so you know exactly how it's going to visually look. And finally, it needs constraints, stuff like a specific word count, style, or tone of voice. Honestly, asking an AI to write an article without these constraints is exactly like telling a chef to cook food without mentioning that you're a vegetarian who only eats Italian cuisine. You have to give the AI the specific parameters of your appetite. So the crucial point is this golden formula right here. Prompt equals task plus context plus constraints plus output format. If you memorize literally one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this exact equation. It completely transforms prompt writing from a random guessing game into a scientific, foolproof process. When you stack these four things together every time you type, you are computationally locking the AI into a corner. By giving it the task, context, constraints, and format, the only mathematical way out for the AI is to give you exactly what you asked for. You leave absolute zero room for it to misunderstand you.
Let's actually see this equation in action in Section 3, weak versus strong prompts, and the transformation that happens when you use the formula.
Let's look at the stark contrast between how a beginner uses AI versus a pro. If you just toss in a weak prompt like explain AI, you're going to get an unreadable, painfully dry encyclopedia entry that goes on for pages. But watch what happens when we apply the formula to build a strong prompt. Explain artificial intelligence for first-year engineering students in simple language with 5 real-world examples in 300 words. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of our formula. By defining the audience as first-year engineering students, you just told the AI to skip the crazy expert jargon but also not treat you like a toddler. The constraints, simple language, and exactly 300 words lock in the mathematical boundary. Add the format of 5 real-world examples, and man, the difference in the output you'll get is just absolute night and day. All right, now that we've got the basics down, let's step it up a notch. Section 4, Advanced Prompting Techniques. These are your masterclass strategies. Now, what's really interesting here is how we can directly manipulate how the AI actually computes and behaves. We've got 4 masterclass tools. First up, zero-shot prompting. This is when you just hand over the task with no examples, relying purely on the AI's baseline training. Second is few-shot prompting. This is where you provide a few examples before the task to show it the exact pattern. It's kind of like telling a friend 3 knock-knock jokes so they understand the format before asking them to make up a new one. Third, and this is a huge game changer, chain of thought prompting. You explicitly ask the AI to reason step by step. By doing this, you're literally giving the model a computational scratchpad to process logic sequentially, which massively cuts down on hallucinations for complex problems. And finally, role-based prompting. You tell the AI, act like a seasoned teacher, or act like a senior software programmer. Boom. You instantly shift the statistical weights in its neural network to strongly favor the vocabulary and expertise of that specific persona. Let's see what happens when we stack these advanced strategies with our formula in the real world, like generating a full plan for an educational video. Look at how beautifully constructed this prompt is. Create a 3-minute educational video explaining prompt engineering for college students using simple language, animated visuals, a professional voiceover, and bullet point summaries. Notice how the task, the target audience context, and the constraints are all just seamlessly woven together here. We aren't just broadly asking for a video. We're dictating the exact tone, the visual style, and the output format. We're taking complete control of the AI's generation process, guiding it step by step to the perfect result. Let's wrap this all up and bring it home with our final section, Master Your AI Results. To make sure you generate amazing, high-quality content across text, images, or code every single time, let's summarize the core takeaways. Number 1, be specific. Number 2, always give enough context. Number 3, clearly define your target audience. Number 4, explicitly mention the desired format, whether that's a paragraph, bullet points, or table. And number 5, honestly, probably the most important one, refine the prompt if needed. Look, the AI isn't a mind reader, at least not yet. If it gives you something weird on the first try, don't blame the machine. Look back at your formula. Did you forget the context? Did you leave the format totally ambiguous? Just tweak your variables, adjust your constraints, and try again. Prompt engineering is a highly iterative process.
Prompt engineering is, without a doubt, an absolutely essential skill for using AI effectively in today's world. Well-structured prompts are the ultimate key to unlocking the true potential of these prediction engines. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Armed with the perfect formula and these advanced techniques, how will you change the way you communicate with the machines you use every day? Go put these skills to the test right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.